Imagine a paradise, scattered like jewels across the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean. These are the Maldives, a nation of over 1,000 coral islands. But how did this breathtaking archipelago come to be? And what stories do its turquoise waters hold? Our journey begins millions of years ago. The Maldives are built on the remnants of a submerged volcanic mountain range. Over eons, coral polyps, tiny marine animals, built their limestone skeletons on these sunken peaks. As they grew towards the sunlight, they formed intricate reef systems. Over time, sea levels changed, and the tops of these reefs became exposed, creating the low-lying coral islands and atolls we see today. This unique geography placed the Maldives at a crucial crossroads. Animated maps from ancient times would show these islands as vital stepping stones on the maritime Silk Road, linking the civilizations of the East and West. Sailors and merchants, navigating the monsoon winds, found shelter and supplies here, making the islands a melting pot of cultures long before the first resorts were built. The earliest chapter of Maldivian human history is traced back over 2,000 years. The first to arrive were likely seafarers from southern India and Sri Lanka, bringing with them their customs, language, and beliefs. Archaeological evidence, like ancient stupas and monasteries unearthed on various islands, tells us that for nearly a millennium, Buddhism was the guiding spiritual light of the Maldives. The society was sophisticated, with skilled artisans and a deep connection to the artistic traditions of the subcontinent. Then, in the 12th century, a pivotal change swept across the islands. According to Maldivian chronicles, a Moroccan scholar named Abu al-Barakat Yusuf al-Babari visited the islands. His teachings and influence led to the peaceful conversion of the reigning Buddhist king to Islam. This wasn't a conquest but a gradual embrace of a new faith. The year 1153 marks the official adoption of Islam, a moment that profoundly reshaped Maldivian identity, law, and culture for centuries to come. The language, Divahi, evolved, incorporating Arabic script, and the call to prayer began to echo from newly built mosques across the atolls, a sound that defines the rhythm of daily life to this day. With its strategic location, the Maldives became a key player in the thriving Indian Ocean trade network. But it wasn't just a rest stop, it was a source of a unique and valuable commodity. I'm talking about cowrie shells. These small, glossy shells, harvested from the Maldivian reefs, became a widely accepted form of currency. For centuries, tons of Maldivian cowries were exported, traveling as far as West Africa, China, and the Arabian Peninsula. They were used to buy everything from spices to enslave people, making these tiny islands a surprisingly influential economic force. Fleets of local vessels, known as donnies, skillfully navigated the ocean, carrying these shells and other goods, connecting the Maldives to a global economy. This trade brought wealth and exposure to the islands, but it also attracted the attention of powerful foreign empires looking to control the lucrative sea lanes. The age of idyllic isolation was coming to an end. The 16th century ushered in a new, more turbulent era. European powers, armed with cannons and ambition, began sailing into the Indian Ocean. In 1558, the Portuguese, who had already established strongholds in India, invaded and captured the Maldivian capital, Male. Their rule was brutal and marked by attempts to forcibly convert the population. This period of foreign occupation lasted for 15 years, a dark chapter in the nation's history. But the Maldivian spirit of independence could not be extinguished. A national hero emerged, Mohammed Thakurufanu al-Awzam. Along with his brothers, he waged a brilliant guerrilla war from the northern atolls, using small, fast boats to outmaneuver the larger Portuguese ships. In 1573, they successfully drove the Portuguese out, a victory that is still celebrated today as National Day. Though the Portuguese were gone, the threat remained. The Maldives then navigated complex relationships with the Dutch, who controlled Sri Lanka, and later, the British, seeking protection while fiercely guarding their internal sovereignty and Islamic faith. Throughout these encounters with foreign powers, the Maldives maintained a unique and resilient system of governance. For over 800 years, the nation was ruled by a succession of sultans and the occasional sultana. This Maldivian sultanate wasn't just a monarchy, it was a complex political structure deeply intertwined with Islamic law and local customs, known as the Divahi Raj, the Kingdom of Maldives. The Sultan was the head of state, but power was often shared with a council of nobles and religious scholars. This system provided stability and a strong sense of national identity, crucial for resisting foreign control. The legacy of leaders like Mohammed Thakurufanu inspired generations to defend their homeland's independence. Even when faced with the overwhelming power of European empires, the sultans skillfully used diplomacy and alliances to preserve their autonomy. They understood that their greatest strength was not military might, but their unity, their faith, and their unyielding determination to remain masters of their own destiny. As the 20th century dawned, the world was changing rapidly, and the Maldives could not remain untouched. The age of empires was waning, and the call for self-determination was growing louder. In 1887, the Maldives had become a British protectorate. This was a strategic move by the Sultan to ward off other colonial powers. Under the agreement, Britain would handle the country's defense and foreign affairs, but crucially, it promised not to interfere in the Maldives' internal governance. The Sultanate continued, and daily life for most Maldivians remained largely unchanged. However, the winds of change were blowing. After World War II, the global political landscape shifted dramatically. Britain's empire began to dissolve. After decades of peaceful negotiation and a growing desire for full sovereignty, the moment finally arrived. On July 26, 1965, the Maldives signed an agreement with Great Britain, ending its protectorate status and gaining full political independence. The Maldivian flag was raised on the world stage, marking the birth of a modern, sovereign nation after centuries of navigating the tides of history. Just 3 years after independence, in 1968, the Maldivian people voted in a referendum to abolish the centuries-old sultanate and establish a republic. This marked a final transition into the modern era. The focus shifted to development, education, and connecting the scattered islands. Then, in the 1970s, another revolution began, a peaceful one that would redefine the nation's future: tourism. The first resort opened in 1972, and what started as a small experiment blossomed into a world-renowned industry. The image of overwater bungalows and pristine white sand beaches became synonymous with the Maldives, bringing unprecedented economic growth. Today, the Republic of Maldives is a vibrant nation, a member of the United Nations, and a leading voice on the world stage, especially on one critical issue. As a low-lying island nation, it is on the front lines of climate change. The rising sea levels pose an existential threat to its very existence. The story of the Maldives is no longer just about its past. It's about a fight for its future, a struggle for survival that speaks to a challenge facing our entire planet. As the sun sets over these beautiful atolls casting a golden glow on the water, it's a poignant reminder of both the incredible resilience of this island nation and the fragile beauty we all have a duty to protect. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of the Maldives. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from around the world.